Hello, beautiful people. I just wanted to show you a little Sisters Build Network for girls, already being claimed. So we are all the way live, and I am PrimroseCameron.com with the one and only
Janice.
All right, in the building. So I'm super excited, as I always am. Why? Because it's Tuesday. I'm here, you're there, she's here. I mean, what better way to be? But I will tell you, we're running a little late. We were waiting on you, kind of, sort of, take it as you get it. But today, I do want to kind of just jump right in. For the last few weeks, heck, all year, we've been focusing on what matters most in our families and in our homes. And it's extremely important that we just promote goodness, right, and positivity. Everyone has a story. Everyone has had maybe some challenges or obstacles. And I just want you to know that we're here for you. And we continue to connect so that we can help people build. So we'll jump right in, because when I tell you that Miss Janice has truly inspired me. The first time we met, it was at a vision board party, right? She had probably already gone to one. She was like, okay, I guess. All right. She didn't know who I was from whoever. And I was so glad that she came, not only because she has this beautiful personality, but that she has just a love of God and the love of people, right? And so when we take the Sisters Build Network for girls on the road, I'm glad that she's my roadie. So I do want to kind of get started with who you are. We often, want to share with our viewing audience a little bit about your story.
Well, my name is Janice. I'm the owner and CEO of Creations to Inspire. It's a t-shirt company. I also do other merchandise. I customize them and I make them. I've been walking with God for 8 years now. And it all started when I lost my right hand in a drinking and driving car accident when I was 19, back in 2010. And ever since that day, I gave my life to Christ. Before I lost my hand, I was walking down a dark road. I was living a fast lane life. I was living for the thrill of life and just living life how I wanted to live. And I didn't really have God there. God was never there. I wasn't a believer. I was just living life for me. And the night that I lost my hand, it really woke me up. God woke me up, and I gave my life to Christ that night when, from report, the car flew 127 feet in the air. And she wound up hitting a tractor trailer, and we flew 127 feet in the air. And the car came down rolling 11 times, and my hand had got crushed in between the car and the pavement, and that's how I lost my hand. And so anyways, when the car was upside down, I crawled out army style, and she followed behind me, and all I remember was being on 417 in the ditch, like in this ditch, because we flew over traffic. It was really dramatic. And she followed behind me, and she was like, oh my God, your hand. And I'm looking like, what is she talking about?
Right.
I still have
a
little
buzz.
Feel you're
numb.
I still have my little buzz, I was drinking, hanging out. And I looked down and I looked at my hands and I'm like, oh my gosh, my hand, it was still attached, but I had seen everything inside of it. The veins, the bones, the blood, and the skin was just hanging off there. And, anybody will faint.
Yeah, I'm fainting, definitely, yeah.
So I fainted, and all I could remember was waking up in this ditch. I call it the ditch of nowhere. And for the first time in my life, I felt the presence of God. And it was an amazing feeling. And what I had forgot to mention is that before we had got into the accident, I knew we were going to crash into something. I just felt it. Like when you feel something's going to happen.
Something's not right.
Something's just not right. Yeah. Plus, it was Friday the 13th. Just everything was going wrong. And something was just not right. And while she was driving, we were kind of arguing about something that happened hours ago. I know I'm everywhere with the story, but I'm trying
but every part of it has meaning.
Has meaning to it. And, we were arguing about something that happened earlier in that day, and it was so stupid. It was a stupid argument. But when I realized that she was going really fast, I was like, hey, slow down. She was like, no, I got this. And we were scared for our life. We had another friend in the back seat. She was scared for her life. And in that moment, I was like, okay, God, I know I don't know you like I should. I did the little sinner prayer. I was like, I give my life to you. If I die tonight, please take me to heaven with you. You know,
Right.
and then
Something we think about, Janice, but we don't really believe it. Like, it's like, okay, I think we're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
In the midst of that type of situation. Yeah.
So that's basically what I did, and I put my seatbelt on, and then we crashed.
You put your seatbelt on
I
first?
put my seatbelt on first, and that's just like God to do something like that.
Right. Protect over you because you have
me.
given yourself.
And and when we had rolled over and stuff like that, and we were upside down, before we had crawled out of the car, I looked around. I was like, okay, we're all good. My friend that was in the back seat, I was like, okay, we're good. I seen, some type of form back there, some type of, someone sitting back there. So it's like, okay, we're good. Let me come out of the car. And that's when that happened. And then I fainted. And anyways, they had to airlift me to RMC. And it was really devastating. I was like losing oxygen in the helicopter. I was crying out like, oh my gosh, no, I cannot die. Like, I'm supposed to live. God, I know you have plans for me. And it was in that moment that I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. And the lady in the helicopter team, she had whispered in my ear, she was like, you will not die, but you will live. And then she put that little mask thing over me. And it took me 5 days to be in the hospital. When I had woke up, my mom told me, hey, there was only a 1% chance that they could save your right hand. I was right-handed, by the way.
But you're so fabulous with your left hand. I'm just saying. Yeah, everything gets done. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
So thank you. So, it was a lot to go through, but the fact that I had God there with me and the fact that everything was like brand new for me was amazing, because I couldn't stand people. Before, I just didn't like people.
I remember you said that. I couldn't believe that for the life of me, Janice, because we clicked like right away.
I know.
Wow.
I just didn't. I was just, okay, I only had one friend and that was it. And I just loved people after that. Everything was new to me. Everything that I seen. I had the best rooms in the hospital. They put me in the top-notch suite in the hospital. It was hot. Everybody else was kind of, I don't know, but God take care of his children, So I was like really excited. And that's when it all started, me sharing my testimony. I knew God had a purpose for me. I knew I didn't die in that accident. Because God had a purpose for me. And what is weird is that my friend that was in the back seat, she flew out of the seat before. She flew out of the car before we crashed, I guess.
Right.
Like, I guess when when the other friend hit the car, it kind of like
ejected
her. But what was weird is that I seen someone in the back seat. I believe that was the angel of death trying to take my life. But,
And they were fine.
They were fine. The friend that was in the back seat, she had to be hospitalized for 5 months. She had road burns all over her. The other friend, she's fine, perfectly fine. She didn't have a seatbelt on. I know that was God. One took her seatbelt off to get her phone and got ejected. The other one didn't have a seatbelt on. And me, I had a seatbelt on. Yeah. So that's why I'm so passionate about young girls. I'm passionate even about the next generation. I just want people to walk in their purpose, because it was then that I realized, hey, I have a purpose here.
Yeah, and every time I hear your testimony, I get chills. Like, I'm glad I have on long sleeves, because I get chills because it's so powerful, because I start picturing you at 19, right? Because you're not 30 yet, right? So you're well under 30, right? And I just picture you at 19 and the decisions that had to be made about your life, and the decisions you took control over. Right? Because walking in your purpose means just that. It means you have made a choice, right? How do you feel your life has changed because you made the choice? Not even the accident, but because you made the choice to walk in your purpose.
It has changed in a mighty way, because literally the friends that I used to have, right after the accident, they kind of dwindle away, and they're like, oh, she's weird. She's on God too much. She's,
all that God stuff.
Let me get away from her. She's weird now. And it was all good, because God put me in touch with people who truly celebrates me and truly lifts me up, and it's amazing. It's definitely a lot different than it was before for me, because before I didn't know I had a purpose. I was just living just to get by. And now it's like, I know I have a purpose, and my purpose will be served.
So what would you say to the 19-year-old who is in that challenge, right? Because by the time I was 19, I was having a kid. So I know everyone has their story, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone's doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe I wasn't hanging out, maybe I wasn't drinking, but everyone has a story.
Right.
And for me, the minute I gave birth, it was like 360, like, oh my gosh, my mother. Like my whole life has changed, right? And so, what would you say to the average 19-year-old that's in the midst of that challenge?
I would say follow your heart. You know what's right. You know what's wrong at that age. Don't follow your friends. If you have a relationship with God, I hope you do at that age.
Yeah,
pursue
hard.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Pursue it. Know that you're here for a purpose. I know 19-year-olds, even teenagers, they go through thoughts of suicide, depression, and anxiety, and it's because of the world we live in, and that's why they have us, because we're here,
right.
and if you don't have anyone in your circle, you need to find someone, you need to find a mentor, you need to find someone who's truly going to bring you to the next level in life, because we all need a mentor, we all need a friend, and that's my best advice.
And that's so important. Like, I've needed that even now, right? I don't think you're ever too young or too old to have someone else in your life. I do sometimes think about those if I knew then, but we can't go back. Yeah. We can't go back and start coloring it a different picture. I mean, if we could, right? Things would look a little different, but we're not there. We can't do that.
Right.
So we really have to walk into our current purpose. So what do you feel your current purpose is?
My current purpose is to impact the next generation. I know that God spared me for a reason, and I know that they have to hear my story. Especially the teenagers, the kids that's drinking, they need to hear the choices that and the consequences behind drinking. Because what's weird, because when I was a teenager, my whole thought was like, that can't happen to me.
Right.
And they think like that still. That ain't gonna I ain't that stupid. That ain't gonna happen to me.
Right.
And I was surprised when it happened to me.
I
was like, what? What is going on here? And I think the whole choices and making the right choices is important.
Yeah, it's important. So what are some other things you would like people to know about who you are and where you're going from here?
I really love making shirts. I know I said that in the beginning.
And that part is really important. Like, I really want us to pay close attention, because Creations to Inspire, when the first time I met you, I'm like, she's under 30 and she owns a business, and I was so confused, and a house, and I was like, how do they do that? So tell us more about that.
It's honestly all God, because honestly, like, everything that I'm doing, from owning my own house, from owning my own business, my own car, I ain't got no payments or nothing. I got good credit. It's all God, literally. Like, I owned my first house at 21. Like, at 21. Usually when you're like 21, you're like, I'm gonna go get a drink.
Yeah, exactly. More partying. Yeah.
It was all God. God blessed me, and I just took the blessing that He gave me, and I bless others. Because that's my thing. I have such a servant heart. I want to serve wherever I am. I'm gonna serve. I'll do the most.
Like my bracelet. We got matching bracelets.
Yes.
Yeah. But I love that about your spirit, because everywhere you go, I feel it, right? Like, I feel that energy, and we know that positive energy brings positive energy, right?
Yeah.
So tell us more about your business.
So I make custom merchandise. I do it. They're all handmade. I don't know if you know, but they're all handmade, literally. I design them on the computer, or if someone has a logo they want me to make, I try to make it the best way I could, and I hand make them. And I make cups, tumblers, t-shirts, bags, aprons, car decals, everything. And I love it, because originally before I lost my hand, when I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a fashion designer. Okay. Mom couldn't afford Barbie clothes, so I was cutting Barbie, her old clothes or our old clothes, and I would make like these cute little dresses and stuff, and I'll draw a lot, and so now it's like I'm seeing it come to pass. That dream that I had as a little girl is coming to pass, because I totally forgot. Like, when I lost my hand, I was like, there goes the fashion designing. I'm not gonna lie, until someone put me to the test and was like, how about you start designing flyers and stuff? And I I'm a self-taught graphic designer. Like, I taught myself how to design and stuff like that. I was designing everybody's MySpace pictures back in the days.
Really?
Everybody was like hitting me up, like, "Hey, can you design my picture?" I was like, $3. I was even a hustler back then. I was like, $3. A little something.
Yeah.
If it was something like a layout or something, I'm like, you know what? $10
Yeah.
or something basic like that. But even in that, I was excited to do that. That was my purpose. That was my passion. And even though I may have had a hard life, and I may have went through things in my life that is just, I've been through everything but a casket. I love to say that line because it's true. And where was I going? Sorry.
No, I was just asking about your business and where that's going, but I do want to touch on that phrase. I don't know how much you want to share. I know we touched on a little bit. On relationships, right? And the challenges with those, because I know a lot of our viewers, and for those of you who have young girls and folks under 30 and doing some things, that's a hard part also, right? I told my mom today, we were debating. Let me share with you this debate and you tell me your thought. So my mom said, is it worse to not have been raised by your parents but have a really good relationship in your adulthood, or flipped?
Is it worse having wait, repeat that again.
Would it be better to have not a good relationship when you're grown but have really good parents, or not to have like a really intact family when you were growing up but have a really good husband or wife?
That's a hard one because everyone's different, For me, my mom was a single mom, and I didn't have a daddy in the household. So it was hard for me to have relationships. It was hard for me to, because every guy that I was with was either abusive or crazy. They were just crazy, controlling. So it was like not growing up with that father figure. It just damaged me as a person, Not that I'm damaged now, far from damaged, but
because God has you from head to toe.
Me, So I would say that,
because how did you handle some of those relationships? I know when we met, we kind of talked on those briefly. Like, how did you handle that? How did you push through?
It was really hard. I had went through one relationship, and I'll share because there might be someone on there that needs to hear that. I went through one relationship, and this is after me living and walking with God. This is after, and I met this guy. He was cute, he was a little hood boy, I liked him like a little bit, and we were dating, and we got really serious. He lived in Lakeland, so I would drive from Deltona to Lakeland and go all the way over there to go see him every weekend.
Oh, goodness.
And I would stay there with him, and it was just, that was like one of my darkest parts in my walk with God. And he was really like, he was a womanizer, he was an abuser. And the first time we had got into a confrontation was at an Applebee's. They had a Turn Up Tuesday over there. I wish we had something like that over here. That would be amazing. Everyone gathers together and have a Turn Up Tuesday. And it was fun, and I had overheard him talking with another girl. And he was talking about, oh, why don't we do this and why don't we... And I'm like sitting right there, and I was like,
You're at the table.
I'm sitting at the table right next to him. So I'm like, you know what? Let me leave. So I walk out. He follows behind me. I'm in my car, my little Honda back then. I'm in my car, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done with you, blah, blah, blah. We're arguing. And then I just see this dark look in his face, like he didn't understand the fact that I was done with him. And he punched me right in the side of my face, like really hard. And
in the parking lot?
In the parking lot. Like I was a dude. And he kept doing it. And it was, it's easy to, from the outside looking in, like, oh, why didn't you just leave that fool? And I realized then I was trauma bonding, with my trauma with him. And it still affects me to this day because, I still think about it, and it still hurts to know that someone that I love will put me through something like that. And, there goes that purpose again. He tried to take my life so many times and try to kill me, this guy, and I'm still here. by the grace of God, and I'm living my purpose.
And you had to push forward. And that's important to recognize, right? Sometimes we confuse love and passion, or they look really cute, or things like that, or things that we like.
That we like about them, and then we see the full package, and we're like, what did I get myself into?
You want to return it, right, to the store.
Return it like it's a bag. Return to sender.
Yeah. And so I would just encourage, and here's a counselor in me, just encourage anyone that needs any help or assistance to please seek counseling and seek law enforcement and things of that nature. And women to know your worth. I think you posted that today. I'm always scrolling on your page. But to know your worth, like that is so important. And too often we sell ourselves short. I have a shirt to prove on my non-negotiables, right? And I've been struggling, Janice, if I could share with you my blog, because I haven't finished writing that particular segment on non-negotiables, because I think sometimes we trade them in, right? Like we're at a poker table or something. I don't even know how to play poker, so I don't know why we would do that with our lives, right? So, maybe if I turn in this chip, right, then although he's going to give me a really small chip, I'll take it,
settle for it.
And sometimes we feel like, well, maybe because my life isn't all together, right, I'm going to take less. And you're continuing to prove over and over and over that you're worth so much more.
And I think the most important thing is to get up. No matter how many times you fall down, you just got to get up. There was this one time, I'll make it quick. I know I'm talking so much.
No, we want to hear this story,
I was coming out of the shower. I was in a rush, and usually I'll grab the towel holder to hold on and get out. This time I was just like, I'm just going to get out. There was no rug there, and I slipped and fell.
Oh my goodness, right.
And it like hurt so bad that I fell. And I literally, in my thought, it's so funny how our mind works. Our mind kind of tells us sometimes to do that even though it's not right to do.
Right.
My mind was like, oh, you might as well just lay there and just cry on the floor. And it's not like I could do like, help. I can't get up. One of those commercials.
You
ain't nobody there.
Right. Where's the button? Right.
So I stood there for a moment, and I was just like, no, Janice, you need to get up.
Right.
No matter how bad I was feeling because of that fall. And I was embarrassed, even though it was just me home. I was embarrassed, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I fell. That was the first time I fell. And I got up. I think that's the whole part of this, walking in your purpose. Don't stay in your funk. Don't stay in the dirt of life. Get up. You need to get up. And I have like all these notes here.
No, please share.
And like purpose. I put the definition of purpose here. And it says the reason for which something is done or is created, or for which something exists. So my whole slogan, because I want to write a book about my life.
I already see it. I can write the forward. Just call me. Yeah.
I'm gonna have a couple forwards in there. Tyler Perry. So it's gonna be amazing. My whole slogan is created on purpose for a purpose. And it's amazing how God formed the earth. It's amazing how God created us. He made us for a purpose, and we have to walk in that purpose. And I put down these little question marks you should ask yourself while walking in your purpose. It's like, these are some things you might want to write down. It might help you.
Take notes. Take notes.
What are you passionate about? What's your God-given talents? Will it help others? How can you create a way to share it? And I put purpose comes with vision, because if you don't have a vision, you still have a purpose, but if you don't have a vision, you have nothing, really.
You have nothing to walk towards.
Exactly. Yeah, so living every day with your purpose, or create it for that. And I live it to glorify God.
Wow, I am so glad you stopped by today. She gives me chills. I don't know about y'all, but I know about me. Like, she is truly an inspiration. I don't know where you are in your life. I don't know what challenges you may be experiencing, or obstacles. I get a lot of messages, you probably do as well, of folks that are kind of in the midst of that struggle. And when I hear testimonies that say that I moved forward regardless, that I got up,
Yeah.
Right? Because oftentimes we can sit around, I could feel sorry for myself all day long. And trust me, there have been some days, right? And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, nothing has changed.
Yeah.
So I learned that you have to get up and you have to make some things happen. And so Janice is just one of those testimonies that for me, I hold on to, and I know that better days are coming. So thank you for sharing. Yeah, I think the greatest, thank you. I think the greatest gift a person can give is of themselves. So hopefully you guys tune in. We'll be doing some things. We have a team, right?
Yes.
With Sistersville Network for Girls Incorporated. We're starting off September 15th.
Yes. Correct.
Right, with orientation right there at the Chisholm Center in DeLand. If you're in the area, you have a young girl, ages, what did we say, 11 through 19.
Yes.
Please check us out on September 15th. So we're excited about that. Some 11 through 14 will actually be reading books that represent the young ladies, and then 15 through 19 is the mentoring program. And so that's one of our areas. We have the Sisters Bill brunch, and so as like me, I just want to hear more and more and more. Janice is actually one of our guest speakers on the Sisters Bill brunch. I think we only have like 4 tickets, by the way. So
4 tickets left?
Yeah, 4 tickets left. Yeah, it's like a sold out because it wasn't a large event. I pictured it like, oh, if I had a really big house, what would it look like if I brought all my friends over? Yeah, so it's that type of brunch, and just women will be celebrating her story, and these are one of the stories that we celebrate, and so that's coming up on October 13th. And I'm calling a few good men. Now, I have not let you off the hook. I am holding you responsible and accountable for the lives of our children and the lives of our homes. So as always, I'm PrimroseCameron.com, and you heard it here first with the one and only
Janice
in the building. You guys take care now.
Bye.
We love you.